So, okay, I'm planning on going back to UFC.
You do?
If they'll have me, I would like to go back and fucking whoop someone's ass there.
Well, who would you want to, if it was offered? Justin Gaethje, it sounds like.
I'm not fighting at 55 though, but right now I'm not fighting in there because there's nobody to fight really. It's kind of slow rolling.
Like UFC would.
I don't really have a name in mind right now in the UFC. That's why I'm not there right now. Otherwise,
but the name, the draw, the excitement that you'd bring to it, I feel like it's really lacking in UFC. Everybody's
that's
rushing, everybody's
like, I'd
wrestling.
be there if there was somebody that I wanted to go fight. But
I want to see the rubber match with Conor McGregor.
with time for sure. Yeah, whenever he's back, me and him for sure got unfinished.
If there's another fight that would sell and it would be huge, it would be that. It would be Diaz 3.
Oh yeah,
that could be, especially if Diaz gets past Poirier.
Yes.
Even if he doesn't, I mean, just that fight alone. I mean, there's the history between those two guys. I mean, that would be,
and it's so appealing stylistically as well. The fight, you know,
yeah.
Like I'm a grappler at heart. I love grappling, but I also understand that a jiu-jitsu tournament will put people to sleep. You know, even if you're into jiu-jitsu, it's hard to watch a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yes,
but anybody can see a punch hitting someone in the head and them falling down. That's,
yeah,
you know, that's exciting. And him and Diaz is such a great personality matchup. It's such a great skill clash. You know, if I was to design somebody that's going to bring the best out of a corner, you'd want someone that, you know, can hit back and take a big shot and put up at the trash. It's a beautiful fight. I would love to see that rematch.
Yeah, the thing about Diaz when they first fought was that he didn't give a fuck about trash talk. It didn't bother him at all.
All right. Here's what researchers just uncovered about social media and your brain, and this goes way beyond some loose theory. They actually track dopamine receptors, those critical brain chemicals that handle reward and pleasure, and discovered measurable changes directly linked to how much time you spend on your feeds. We're looking at concrete brain science here, not guesswork.
Story that Conor McGregor is being talked to headline the White House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there, because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? If you've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand, without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? You have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on. Would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time? You're going to do what we used to call a super fight, but now we call it title versus title.
All right, here's how blunt Nate Diaz got about this whole situation. Zero hesitation, completely straight up. When that White House opportunity came up and everyone started throwing around potential matchups, Conor McGregor was the only name that caught Diaz's attention. No flashy sales talk, no complicated pitches, just this raw truth. It's either McGregor or nothing else matters to him. Diaz basically said, I'm ready, the fans want it bad, and this third fight everyone's been waiting for is sitting there in the wings, ready to explode. No complicated deals needed, no drawn-out negotiations. Everybody already gets why this has to go down.
Last thing, White House card, like you said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
right.
It's like, at least that's happening and getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
Now fans want it.
Devontae and Paul should be good, and then because what else are you looking forward to? Hurry up.
Nothing.
Hurry up. What else?
If it's not you, McGregor, Ryan, it's nobody.
So it's good. It's good.
Now fans want you versus McGregor 3. Do you want that fight?
Yeah, for sure.
White House?
Yeah. What time?
But Dana White came in and poured some serious cold water on all this trilogy excitement happening right now. He made time the key factor in this crazy fast sport. Look at it this way, 12 months in MMA can completely change everything we think we know. This hits even harder since McGregor's only teasing a comeback while Diaz is showing interest, but nothing's locked down. White stressed that feeling certain about anything today is basically pointless. The whole UFC landscape, fight cards, champions, organizational focus, it can all transform overnight. He pointed out that by next July 4th, everything might look so different that what we're discussing now could be totally meaningless. So the McGregor-Diaz trilogy concept isn't dead, but it's definitely not getting signed and sealed anytime soon.
Back in the pool, Nate Diaz said he would love to be the opponent. Are you interested in that trilogy?
That fight's a year away. Landscape will change so much by next 4th of July. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to be on the card? What the main event will be, or who will hold all the titles? Everything could be completely different, so it's not even worth thinking about.
Right now, though, Michael Bisping took the complete opposite approach from Dana White's careful wait-and-see position, jumping straight to the big-picture reality. For Bisping, there's zero doubt about it. If Nate Diaz actually comes back to the Octagon and Conor McGregor really steps in again, that's the fight you make every single time. No debate whatsoever. Their rivalry already ranks among the most legendary in UFC history. Put a fight like that on a White House card, an event built for historical moments, and it wouldn't just be a highlight, it would immediately set the tone for the entire night, especially with other massive fights potentially sharing the spotlight. Bisping's thinking runs deeper than just promoting fights though. He believes that while McGregor doesn't necessarily need another fight for his legacy or bank account, that primal competitive fire never really dies in real fighters. That hunger for one more moment, that drive for another victory is so powerful it makes McGregor's participation in something this historically massive feel almost certain.
If Nate Diaz was to come back. But if he was, and if Conor McGregor does actually make it back, I think that's the fight to make all day long. The one-on-one, there were some of the biggest fights in UFC history. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor at the White House will be absolutely insane. It probably will have Tom Aspinall versus John Jones in the main event. It probably will have Conor McGregor versus someone, Michael Chandler or Nate Diaz, in the co-main event. So that just kind of sets the tone for how big that card would be. What do you think? Do you think Conor McGregor will actually make it back? Of course, he hasn't fought since 2021, right? It's going to be 5 years since he last fought. I, for one, fair play to the guy. Fair play, man. Respect. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to come back. He's got lots of other avenues and ways to make money, but fighting is something that never leaves you, okay? It's a part of who you are. It's in your DNA. It's part of your soul. And he wants to come back and he wants to get his hands raised in victory. Of course, he wants to come back and be a part of that one.
Bisping pushed his analysis even further, expanding from personal feuds to pure entertainment value. When we're talking about super fights, those earth-shaking matchups that rock the entire sport, he pointed directly at John Jones versus Alex Pereira as the fight that would overshadow everything else on the table right now. Pereira's incredible rise, his star appeal, and what he's already achieved across weight classes makes facing Jones seem almost surreal, like something from a fantasy matchup. Bisping argued passionately that if Pereira somehow beat a legend like Jones, it wouldn't just be a victory, it would cement a legacy that nobody in MMA has ever touched. Still, Bisping kept things realistic. He knows Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler remains the official expectation for now. But he added this important point: once politics, power plays, and personal dynamics get involved, even the most solid plans can suddenly shift completely.
Fair, if we're talking about super fights, if we're talking about something that's really going to get the MMA world excited, then it would be John Jones versus Alex Pereira, right? Alex Pereira is one of the biggest stars. He came back in style and destroyed Magomed Ankalaev. The man's phenomenal. He's unbelievable. He's a two-weight division champion. What he's achieved in this sport is ridiculous. If he was to face John Jones, and if he was to beat him, then I guess he would go on a fight for the third belt, and that'd be it. That'd be set in stone. Alex Pereira would, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, be the greatest mixed martial artist to ever compete. Simple as that. There's no one that's fought for 3 belts or won 3 belts. Just the thought of that alone is crazy. I mean, it took me about, 26 fights in the UFC to even get 1 title shot. So they're not easy to come by. Anyway, so there's that. Now they're talking about Conor McGregor fighting Michael Chandler. That's going to be the fight that happens. We all know about that. There's nothing new there. And the thing is, if Donald Trump wants it, if the President of the United States wants it, and as Eric says in that video, him and Dana are...
The insightful MMA guru brought everything back to timing and fan perspective, keeping it all grounded in what people actually want to see. He stated clearly that the next fight worth getting excited about depends entirely on Nate Diaz, not just returning but making a massive statement with a big win at welterweight. Only after that does the trilogy with McGregor really become the must-see event worthy of that White House stage. The fan base seems divided right now, throwing around names like Masvidal or Glover Teixeira as possibilities. But here's what's fascinating. Many influential voices, including seasoned reporters like Ariel Helwani, are quietly leaning toward the spectacle of Diaz versus McGregor as the marquee fight everyone actually wants.
Because that's not the fight I want to see next, okay? If Nate Diaz comes back and gets a big win over someone in the welterweight division, okay? And he does it impressively, and then the McGregor fight happens, that's when I'm interested. But right now, I feel like the hardcore fans are kind of in mutual agreement that it's Masvidal or Gaethje. To us, it's kind of Masvidal or Gaethje, and for Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani to both say that they think Nate Diaz trilogy should be next is strange to me. Very strange to me, because I would love to see either Gaethje or Masvidal. I feel like everyone's in agreement here. We've seen that Donald Cerrone has been beaten by Conor McGregor in his return at UFC 2.
On a totally different angle, the always direct Chael Sonnen cut through all the McGregor White House hype with some serious skepticism. He acknowledged that while McGregor is undeniably the sport's biggest draw, and that's just facts, Sonnen argued that star power alone doesn't automatically make him the right choice for such a prestigious main event. Sonnen then walked us through his thought process for building a dream card with unlimited resources. He asked the tough questions. Would you want a championship fight or maybe a huge heavyweight battle? What about a compelling women's bantamweight bout or the ultimate title versus title super fight? His point was crystal clear. Star power matters, but the bigger question is whether that star power creates a matchup that truly captures public attention and drives viewership.
That Conor McGregor is being talked to headline the White House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we would be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there, because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? If you've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand, without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? If you have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on, would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time? You're going to do what we used to call a super fight, but now we call it title versus title.
Sonnen kept going, explaining why all this McGregor talk around the historic event feels questionable and premature. He painted this almost ridiculous picture. Imagine booking McGregor for mid-2025 on a card scheduled for mid-2026 at a venue that doesn't exist yet, with tickets nowhere near being sold. When you put it like that, he argued, it strains believability and sounds more like wishful thinking than actual planning. The real issue, Sonnen emphasized, is this: if Conor isn't currently champion or actively pursuing a title, then making him the headliner means the card's biggest star won't be fighting for a belt. Having a non-title McGregor fight headline something this historically significant makes that grand narrative much harder to sell. Even if there are two other championship fights elsewhere on the card, it just weakens the main event's impact.
And it's one of the reasons that I'm struggling with the idea that McGregor is being penciled in the middle of 2025 for a card that sits dead center in the middle of 2026 at a venue yet to be built, for tickets that are yet to be on sale. I struggle with it because we're openly saying, if we're going to put Conor on there, that there's no title. Unless you believe that Conor McGregor is going to demote himself, right? The biggest draw should be the main event. Your biggest star, regardless of belt, should be the main event. But in this case, if our biggest draw and our biggest star is not a champion or a contender in any weight class, we're going to acknowledge up front that our biggest show will not contain a title, which makes it a little difficult down the road to go, this show's bigger than big. In fact, we got 2 titles up. Yes, you heard me, there's 2 titles. When can you ever get that? And nothing more important than a title fight.
Then Ben Askren threw a massive curveball at Nate Diaz's entire legacy with his typical bluntness. Askren argued forcefully that Diaz, despite massive hype and a devoted fan base, was really just an average fighter with an incredible talent for marketing himself as elite competition. He supported this by highlighting Diaz's modest record both in UFC and other promotions. Askren deliberately presented Diaz's reputation as more about clever perception than consistent cage performance. He didn't stop there either. Askren hinted with a grin that speaking this harsh truth would definitely trigger a social media storm from Diaz's loyal supporters. Whether you love Ben Askren for his honesty or hate him for controversial opinions, his Diaz analysis will absolutely spark heated debate throughout the MMA community for months.
No, listen, Nate Diaz, he is the most puzzling. He's not. I don't even think he's that good. I'll go get his record if you want me to. But he has convinced people he is good at fighting somehow, some way.
He's pretty good.
I'm gonna go get his damn record, Daniel. It's not.
But he won the Ultimate Fighter. He won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm saying he was good for the time that he was fighting.
No, he wasn't. He was average.
He was. Yeah. Okay. I'm just.
Okay.
Trying
I'm gonna go get the record. I'm gonna go get the record. They're gonna yell at me. I know this. Okay. Let's see. Well, his record is 21-13.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes, that's not that great.
Okay, I take it back. I'm taking it back.
And he was going into the UFC, he was, I think it was 5-1. So within the UFC, he was 16-12.
That's not good.
That's not very good.
That's not good. There's really no way to twist that into good.
Yeah. So but you know, his personality, that's another one's like, how did his personality catch on? And he says funny things sometimes. He's a little bit different. He, you know, I don't know. Yeah. And listen, if you post this clip, please don't post this clip.
Switching to the broader White House card discussion, Daniel Cormier addressed all the Jon Jones heavyweight talk with realistic perspective. While he admits Jones moving to heavyweight sounds intriguing, Cormier firmly believes Jones's best work and the matchup fans really want still happens at light heavyweight. He specifically mentioned an electrifying clash with Alex Pereira at 205 as perfect for that monumental White House event. Cormier acknowledged Jones has bulked up significantly, but remains confident that dropping weight to make 205 is still achievable, keeping that dream fight very much possible. Meanwhile, John Anik, with his practical fan service approach, detailed his White House card vision. He firmly suggested the main event should feature the heavyweight championship, likely Tom Aspinall defending against Sergey Pavlovich, while acknowledging the buzz around Jones versus Pereira remains uncertain for the top spot. For co-main, Anik penciled in a bantamweight title fight between Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili. He hoped that by June 14th, fans could witness 4 or even 5 title fights right on the White House lawn, which would honestly make for truly historic entertainment if everything aligns perfectly. Not to be outdone, Brendan Schaub unleashed what he calls a dream card, a lineup so stacked it would make any MMA fan completely lose their minds. He loaded it with superstars like Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira, Jon Jones, plus the epic McGregor-Diaz showdown. Schaub called it exactly the kind of lineup he'd pay premium prices to watch without hesitation, and he didn't stop at main events. He argued even prelims featuring wrestling phenoms like Gable Steveson and Bo Nickel would be must-watch, with Michael Chandler also included, rounding out what he describes as a card so explosive it could redefine fan expectations for MMA events. Contrasting all that ambitious dreaming, Henry Cejudo weighed in on the biggest White House card possibilities and stayed true to form by speaking directly. From blockbuster options like Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones, Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Jones versus Francis Ngannou, and McGregor versus Michael Chandler, Cejudo put his money on Jones versus Aspinall. For Cejudo, this isn't just about rankings or titles, it's about symbolism. It's America's 250th birthday, representing a clash of legacies, greatest of all time versus the formidable present. In his view, that specific fight isn't just big, it's the singular matchup with power to define the entire card and elevate it to legendary status. So after hearing all these takes, what's your opinion? Do you think Nate Diaz will really return to face Conor McGregor, or is McGregor setting up a different opponent for his comeback? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below, and make sure to hit subscribe for the latest updates because you won't want to miss any of this developing story.